Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. Okay, now, there you go. Here's all the ways you can follow us on social media. Now let's power right in. So, let me go with this. All right, Kentucky. And we're not going to stay on this because I've spent a lot of time in Kentucky, so I'm going to move this out of the way. They still want you to believe, okay, they still want you to believe that President Donald Trump went into Kentucky, could not pull off Kentucky. They're doing everything to manipulate the conversation about Kentucky, Bevin, and Brasher. Okay, so let's pull up number 82. All right, here's the reality. Joe Scarborough is not correct. Now, the blue is around Lexington and Louisville. Oh, my God, look at what happened. But I'm going to get really to the point, all right? You got 49.2, 48.8, and nobody talks about the 2% of John Hicks, the Libertarian, 28,000 votes. Only 5,000 votes separated Andy Brasher and Matt Bevin, the former governor, Republican of Kentucky, all right? Now, there's no fear that Trump... They're doing everything. This is the bottom line. You need to know they're doing everything to make it to where they're pushing down, trying to suppress the vote. Where have you heard that before from Stacey Abrams? The media is trying to suppress the vote, okay? Trying to make it look like that Trump is losing support in very strong areas. So this is a voter suppression, as they would call it, right? The other thing is Andy Brasher, they act like in Kentucky, the national corrupt media, they act like Andy Brasher, okay, is a guy that just decided to run. Why, this is a no-name guy that just decided to run. Now, let me tell you this in politics. If you decide to run for office and you have no name recognition, you have to buy it, okay, whether you like it or not. You say, how do I get my message out? If you have no name recognition, you have to buy. You have to have a certain amount of money. Andy Brasher did not have to buy name recognition. His father, we've talked about that. The Brasher family, okay. The Brasher family, his dad was the governor that Bevin beat, okay? So they wanted that seat back. They courted the teachers union. You can argue all day long. You're not going to win anything that says that Donald Trump has any less significance in Kentucky than he did 2 years ago. Anyhow, that being said, Andy Brasher, that's the reason. Okay? It's simple. That is so simple right there. Now, let's go into, let me show you this guy here. Okay? And I'm going to show you this for two reasons. So this guy, number 81, all right? And this guy I'm going to talk about in reference to Kentucky and, okay, reference to Kentucky and Louisiana. This is former Pennsylvania Governor Bob Casey Sr., okay? Now, why are we going into PA and what's that going to do with Kentucky and Louisiana? This is Bob Casey Sr., former Democrat governor of Pennsylvania, former popular Democrat governor of Pennsylvania. There was so many times that the GOP Republican Pennsylvania people tried to figure out, how do we beat this guy? Well, he's not a conservative. He likes to tax or up fees on things, but almost not to a point that he makes everybody mad. How do we beat this guy? Now, this goes back in 86, 88, whatever, right? Remember that? Now, what happened here? So go back to, really quick, I'm going to use a couple points here, but again, go to 82. 82 is what? The Kentucky results and Andy Brasher, right? His dad was former Kentucky governor, right? Name is very popular in the state. So Andy did not have to buy name recognition. Andy did not have to buy support of special interest groups. Andy did not have to have the Democrat machine come in and vet him or decide if they wanted to put money behind him. He had everything to go. Now, I don't have his picture, but let's go back to 81 and do the Kentucky comparison. Okay? This is Bob Casey Sr., the governor of Pennsylvania, Democrat governor, very popular Democrat governor, a governor that the GOP tried to figure out for years how to run against and beat. When he left office, okay, his son, Bob Casey Jr., which if you'll notice has dropped the word or dropped Jr. off of his name, but Bob Casey Jr. is winning as a senator in Pennsylvania over and over off of his dad's name, just like Beshear in Kentucky. Now, if Donald Trump went into Pennsylvania and tried to do a rally for a Pat Toomey type running against, okay, Casey, not going to work. So anyhow, there you go. All right? There you go. That's one. Riding the coattail, trying to figure out how to be a Republican. Now, let's leave his picture up there for a minute because this is a teachable moment. All right? The media is going to lie, and I have always said, if you have a conversation, we have to be able to have conversations with our friends and be able to explain things. All right? So, Lord, I thought I had it here. Planned Parenthood versus Casey. This guy, Democrat, Pennsylvania, all right, 1992, was so strongly pro-life, he actually, as a Democrat, now listen to this, Democrats right now are in the forefront, get mad if you want, of being the leading cases that Roe v. Wade may be decided on. Yes, because this guy right here, Bob Casey, was a landmark U.S. Supreme Court case regarding abortion. In the state of Pennsylvania, this guy signed the first major piece of legislation that started knocking down, as a Democrat, Roe v. Wade and abortion across this country. In a plurality opinion, because there were several things here, the court upheld the constitutional right to have an abortion that was established by Roe v. Wade, but altered the standard for analyzing restrictions on the right. This guy, Bob Casey, Democrat, is totally the guy in Pennsylvania that started breaking down Roe v. Wade in the Supreme Court. The standard of analyzing restrictions on that right, crafting the undue burden standard of abortion restrictions. Okay? Now, I have it here. Let's see, what was it about? Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Requirement for a waiting period. He put in place a waiting period requirement. Spouse notice. Okay, you have to notify your spouse. And for minors, parental consent prior to undergoing an abortion procedure. All right. Let's see. I could get into the weeds on that. This is the guy that started breaking down the walls and the barriers in the Supreme Court for Roe v. Wade. This is the reason a very Catholic Pennsylvania, a very pro-life Pennsylvania still today, okay, Bob Casey, Democrat governor of Pennsylvania, Republicans could not figure out how to beat this guy. They couldn't figure out how to beat this guy no matter who was president of the United States. Let's see. Let me go to Bob Casey just for, what do they say? Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Just a minute. This is important. Stay with me because I don't want you to go away. But let's get. He was governor from 1987 to 1995. It didn't matter what Republicans did, who went for a rally, who got elected in Pennsylvania. This guy cannot be touched as a Democrat in Pennsylvania. Okay? Not the most conservative guy in the world, but let me tell you something. The first Democrat to start cracking and breaking down the walls of Roe v. Wade. So, that being said, all right, let me go here. Okay, let's go to another one so we can get on to. So we know that. We know what happened there. They're not going to tell the truth. Obviously, let's go to number 18. Okay, number 18, we're going to explain this here in Louisiana. Number 18, Louisiana governor, 53, and there's Eddie Risbon. 2 times the president came in. Okay. Let's go to all the ones that may surround that. I want to put them in there really quick, and then we'll explain. All right, coming at it. All right. They enjoy this so much. We'll get to it. All right, come on. I'm trying to get something explained here. Yeah, it won't take long. I'm almost there. Let's go to 66. Democrat Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards wins re-election in blow to Trump. Okay? All right. Blow to Trump, number 67, MSNBC. Democrat Governor John Bel Edwards wins re-election in Louisiana. There's Trump trying to push this guy over the line, number 68. All right. Democrat Governor John Bel Edwards wins re-election in Louisiana. Number 69. Okay. Louisiana gubernatorial race marks loss for Trump. Really? Loss for Trump. See if I have anything else before we go any further into that. Let's go with MSNBC. They're right here yesterday. Louisiana, number 75. All right. And let's see if I have anything else here. The Gatekeepers of Hell, number 80. Democrat Governor John Bel Edwards wins re-election in Louisiana. All right. They were loving posting that. So let's leave that this morning. Now, why do you think he won John Bel Edwards' re-election in Louisiana? I'm going to tell you why right now. All you have to do is look up a couple things that the media will not tell you. So let's go to, while we have that, let's go to number 1. Let's go to a couple reasons. Number 1, Louisiana just passed a near total abortion ban. It was written by a Democrat. Now, the state joins others in banning the procedure as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. The media will tell you that, this morning really quickly that Edwards signed a heartbeat bill or signed a piece of pro-life legislation. But they're always cautious to throw out that the legislation was written by a Democrat. Now, they want you to think Edwards is the only one in the entire state, the only Democrat. But Louisiana just passed a near total abortion. It was written by a Democrat, all right? And if you can see on the bottom, that's May 30th, 2019. 2019, all right? This is everything the Democrats don't believe in Louisiana, all right? Written by a Democrat, signed by a Democrat governor, voted on by multiples. Go look at the vote of Democrats. Now, why would Democrats do that in Louisiana? And right now, just the fact to get to say that Trump went there and he has egg on his face is what they're enjoying. But trust me, this is a problem. Let's go to number 2, something most of you are aware of, but some of you may not be. Why is Louisiana the only state to have parishes and not counties? There's no counties. You're in the parish, okay? Louisiana was officially Roman Catholic under both France and Spain's rule. The boundaries dividing the territories generally coincide with the church parish. With the church parish. All right? In 1807, the territorial legislation officially adopted the ecclesiastical term, parish. So Louisiana was originally all Roman Catholic, all by French and Spain rule, and there's no counties, they're all parishes. Well, what the hell does that have to do with anything? I will tell you right now what that's got to do with. Let's go here. Let's go back to let me see. Let me go back here. Let's just go to 18 to show the number there. Okay. And Louisiana just passed a near total abortion ban. It was written by a Democrat. The state joins others in banning the procedure as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards on Thursday signed into law a bill banning abortion after a fetal heartbeat can be detected, one of many near total bans on abortion to pass around the country in recent months. The bill, which has no exceptions. Now, don't get confused that they like this governor. The Democrats do. This is only to try to say Trump lost. They'll do anything to try to say Trump lost. The bill, which has no exception for rape and incest, there's no exception, he signed it, would ban abortion as early as 6 weeks before many people knew they were pregnant. It passed the State House of Representatives on Wednesday. The bill states that it would take effect unless a similar law in Mississippi has been challenged in the court, is upheld. Most of the recent abortion bans, are Republican state legislatures, but Louisiana's was authored by a Democrat. According to the New York Times, Edwards, a longtime abortion opponent, is also a Democrat. Written by a Democrat. Now, let's look at something else. If you go into Planned Parenthood versus Casey, you will see with Sandra Day O'Connor and I forget the other Supreme Court justice. But you will see how that started breaking down. If you read Scalia's law, Antonin Scalia's book, and it talks about Planned Parenthood versus Roe v. Wade, you will start seeing, right here, the doors that were opened by a Democrat. Got it? Supreme Court agrees to review Louisiana's abortion law that could limit women's access. Okay? When did this come out? October 4th, 2019. Now, so many articles were written around October about Louisiana, the Supreme Court. So many articles were written to excite pro-life, okay? The Jimmy Swaggart voters in Louisiana. So many articles were written around October to excite the Roman Catholic, the parish, the Catholics in the parish, okay, in those parishes in Louisiana. That it's almost like the Supreme Court picking Louisiana's abortion ban to review was one hell of a campaign boost to John Bel Edwards, the incumbent. You see, Eddie Rispone could not go around the state telling people that he was anti-Christian. And this guy's bill was written by a Democrat that he signed, so he knows what's in it, has no concession for rape or incest. And this guy there's no way Rispone could go around the state and say, they could just yell socialist. He's a socialist. He raised taxes, or he raised fees on this, or, now you got to pay $89 to get your boat tag in Louisiana instead of $49 because he raised that, okay? Now, I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's the things that happen in the states that governors and candidates for governor can fight over, that makes a governor's race different in your state, that no matter who comes in to campaign, Donald Trump or anybody, you're still mad that you got to pay more to get your boat tag. But if you're pro-life and you got to pay a little more to get your boat tag, you just can't be led to believe that John Bel Edwards is a terrible man. You can't be led to believe that he's evil, that he does not love children. Just can't be led to believe that. So Rispone did not have that 2%, we'll call it that 2% of the vote, that he could yell, John Bel Edwards is terrible and evil. When Edwards has these articles coming out basically not in favor, but highlighting his pro-life view. Supreme Court agrees to review Louisiana's abortion law that could limit women's access. The Supreme Court said Friday, now this was October 4th, 2019, like a campaign article in that October. We're in November. The Supreme Court said Friday that it will review the restrictive Louisiana abortion law, providing the first, Louisiana with a Democrat, same with Bob Casey, a Democrat in Pennsylvania, providing the first opportunity for a conservative majority reinforced by the president's two appointees to begin reconsidering the court's abortion rights landscape, coming from Louisiana. In the coming months, the court will examine whether the state's 2014 law requiring doctors at abortion clinics to have admitting privileges at nearby hospitals unduly burdens women's access to abortion. All right, you got to have admitting, okay? You have to have admitting abortion clinics, admitting privileges. Every doctor you go to a doctor and you got something wrong with your foot, he has to be able to admit you into a hospital if there's a problem. So anyhow, I'm just telling you right now that you're going to have to get yourself, you got to understand these things, and don't take this wrong, so you can talk to your friends. Absolutely anything you hear about Kentucky, Louisiana, they're trying to suppress the vote. The media is. Okay? They're trying to convince you that in the suburbs, educated white women are turning against Donald Trump. It's not true. So that's all I want to say on those elections. I just want to stop that, put a damper on it immediately. And we want to move on to, I don't know, we'll take a pick as soon as, I got to check the internet to make sure there's something not wrong with the president. He went to the hospital. We're going to see what happened. Maybe he just needed a checkup from the neck up. We never know. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Take a break.